lot of discussion about the interplay between grace and faith and works. And Paul says it kind of straight up in Ephesians chapter 2, verses 8 and 9. For by grace we are saved through faith, that not of yourselves, it's a gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. And oftentimes we stop there. But he goes on to say, for we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus unto good works. So the healthy balance here is we're not saved by our works, but we are saved for good works, okay? And that's an important balance to have there. Some people think that Paul and James in the New Testament conflict with one another because James says, well, faith without works is dead. James is looking at the authenticity of someone's faith from a human perspective. He's saying, come on, I need a little proof here, okay? And he's really kind of in Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 10 and saying, come on, you were created for good works, let me see some of that, all right? So they don't contradict one another, they complement one another. But make no mistake about it, because of what Paul says in chapter 2 in verse 1, that we were dead in our trespasses and sins. Dead people can't respond in any way, shape, or form. Years ago, before I went into the ministry, I was in sales and marketing in the medical industry. Saw a lot of sick people in the hospital. Spent a lot of time in the hospital, not as a patient, but as a sales representative. And you go into the ICUs and you meet a lot of sick people, but they all have one thing in common. They're alive. Some of them are hanging on to life by a thread. Now you go downstairs in the basement of the hospital and you go into the morgue, there's a different kind of patient there. They're dead. They can't respond. They're not going to buy the monitors I was selling and put them on a patient in the morgue because they're not responding to the meds that they're pumping into the bodies up in the ICU. So the reason salvation is all of God and all a result of His gracious kindness toward us is because we were laying on the gurney, spiritually speaking, dead and unable to respond to Him. So naturally, salvation is only by His grace that He brought us to life again through Jesus Christ, spiritually speaking, all right? But He brought us to life for a purpose, to be His workmanship, and that word workmanship is the same word of poem. We are poetry in motion, as it were, as believers in Christ, as we do the good works. What did Jesus say? Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. That's a part of the Christian life. It doesn't accomplish our salvation, but it certainly demonstrates that our conversion was genuine and it was real.